if not all of you understood yet, just to reiterate, we are in the economic faculty of the Moscow State University, and we would like to welcome the Deputy Dean, Alexander Kurdin. Dear colleagues, I'm very happy to welcome you. I'm very happy to welcome the Society of PostgreSQL here on the economic faculty of MSU in 2020. We are in the change of the decades. The second decade is coming to a close, and the third decade is opening. And we understand that this decade is bringing us new potential, new perspectives, but with it comes new challenges. Developed countries are going through a period of intensive development that had to do with the digitalization of the economy, the appearance of new goods and new services and new ways of communication between the people and enterprises. We understand that the world economy is including more and more the developed nations, and once again, these are new streams of people, new goods that are all becoming a part of the world good turnover, and this also brings new challenges. People constantly migrate, so they need to be controlled somehow. People carry around services and goods, but also people carry around diseases, and all of these new people, these new goods, and these new services, all this requires to be accounted for, requires to be controlled. This requires very careful monitoring and analysis, and this is all required for the economic development to go well in 2020. We believe that the cooperation of people who are working with analyzing, collecting, and monitoring data, and the cooperation of these people and the economy society can provide us with great development of the Russian economy in 2020s. We are very thankful to you for your work, and we hope that we are going to find more active connections between each other in order to further our cooperation. We are very happy that we are constantly holding this conference, and we think that it is the most important step towards our fruitful cooperation. This conference is, of course, one of the best and one of the most important events on the economic faculty of the MSU, and as the organizers noticed, one of the most lively events that is taking place. And we hope that this trend is going to continue, and we hope that next years we're going to continue meeting each other again and again. And I would like to once again thank the entire community of PostgreSQL, and I am very happy that we are here together today. And I wish to all of us great work throughout the coming days. Once again, thank you and good luck. And thank you for the hospitality.
Postgres.
And so, Postgres. Dear colleagues, we all know that Postgres did not come out of nowhere. A lot of good people did hard work. We have an international community, but in Russia, the creator of this community is undoubtedly Oleg Bartunov. Please, Oleg, the stage is yours. Well, it's not just letters are there. These letters are what has been done by Oleg for Postgres. And of course, I was not doing this alone. I was doing this together with my friends and with my partners. And I am very happy to see you here for the fifth time in a row. We're holding our big conference, and this conference has become more of a family event. People come long before the conference starts. Everybody's communicating, and we, especially after this video reel that we have seen, I am listening, I'm watching, and I'm proud of what we're doing. Indeed, we are the warriors of the invisible front, and many people don't know about us, but any informational system, any project can't go without a database. And we, how can I put it? Well, we are the lungs, the liver, the kidneys of any system. And we have to be proud of our profession. And I would like to once again congratulate you all that we have a strong, lively, healthy community. People here are communicating for years on end. We have strong connections, not just on business, but they're just good friends. And today in the evening, we're all meeting, you know where, in the Durdin restaurant. We're going to continue our communication. And right now, we would like to, together with Ivan, my friend and my partner, for many years, we have worked on large projects, on federal scale projects. He's going to share his vision on how Postgres should and can develop. And from the beginning, I'm going to give a bit of an introduction on how to pick the correct database. This question comes up in front of any architect of a new project. So what is usually required of a database? For it to, of course, have a certain functionality in it, for it to have a certain productive capacity, for it to be available, and for it to have its own experts, so that we would be able to work in a familiar environment. So for example, if you work on Linux, you need to make sure the database is available for Linux, and of course the availability of technical support. Of course, when you have a vendor, you are protected in case anything happens. The vendor will come to your assistance. But on our own experience, we frequently see that people forget about such things as flexibility and scalability, and also the longevity and the reasons and the possibilities for sustainable development. So when the project develops, life does not stand still. We require new functionality. The project all of a sudden became popular, and you require scalability. You need to add new features, but you can't just take and shift out a database. Now, there is a myth that SQL is a standard, but we know that the devil's in the detail, and to just migrate from a single database to a different one is no easy feat. So it is very important to think about the choice of how we choose our databases. So if you do not take the time to think and you make a wrong choice, you are going to encounter serious issues. So why do people choose Postgres? Because it's a universal database. Its universalism means that you can start any project with it. You will not go wrong. In case you're missing something, or in case you need something, maybe some extra productive power or extra functional, Postgres allows you to add these additional features by yourself. In addition to this, you are working with open source, but you are able to get commercial technical support, because within our community there are enough commercial companies who are ready to provide you this support, who will not leave you one-on-one with your issues. Postgres is very friendly to its forks. It's got great licensing agreements, and you are able to work even with retail products, which is not usually the case with open source products. And because of the flexibility that Postgres has, it can adapt to the growth of your project. So it can give you a higher amount of productivity, can scale the amount of data stored, can give you a higher functional, and so on and so forth. What is very important? It's important this database contains a very well-defined preset for its further development, because we are launching a project that's going to last not a year or two. We're going to work with a system that is going to function throughout decades, and we have to understand that there is a clear roadmap, that this project is not going to fall apart, that the project is not going to change its direction of development, it's not going to change its development policy, and so on. And Postgres does good on this, and this sustainability is supported by the balance of community, which consists of the open source world, which we are all a part of. Came out of the open source world, was a part of the development community and of the interests of the company. The company that is not only the provider of technical support, but the companies that are driving the development of Postgres, those who work with large projects, with enterprise projects, and are able to get feedback from, they're able to implement new features that are later then get into the community. Here you can look at the Postgres world on this slide. I have drawn out a large picture here, but these are all the subpoints of Postgres. In reality, there is approximately twice as many. This really speaks tons to the fact that Postgres is a very fork-friendly community. And we're not saying that, oh, he forked out and he should get out. No, he's still a part of the community. And these forks provide us the various features and functionality that for one reason or another have not become a part of the open source community. If you see, we have the traditional OFTP support. Postgres is a great database for transactions. We have an array parallel, iCloud, GC, stream data, time series, and here we have the GPU support, GPU hardware support. And as we know, lately we see that Postgres as a NoSQL database is also being developed. Here we see the red flags. The red flags are the retail forks, the for-profit forks, and the green one are the open source ones. We can see that there is an ample amount of both of them. And in the x-axis is the timeline, and at the very bottom, if you can look, you see the main stages of Postgres development, and you can see a question mark at the very end. And we are going to speak about this question mark on the second part of our presentation. And I'm going to speak briefly about the history of Postgres. If we are to decipher this picture, Postgres as a project started in 1996. And this project was passed down into the community, down from Berkeley, and in 1997, in version 6.1, we have gotten an international pull to the project, and I'm very happy that this was my first input into Postgres. I was able to introduce the locale support, and Postgres from a local database turned into an international one. So it started to include many countries, and it became basically a worldwide database. And in later years, we started supporting Microsoft Windows. We have acquired the Windows users. There was a huge discussion, should we even start off supporting this operating system? But at the end of the day, the wisdom of the community, which is why it is good, turned out victorious, and we have gained a lot of loyal Windows users. In 2010, we have achieved a inbuilt replication within a database, and even the most serious developers considered that replication was not needed, that replication is something that side utilities should do. But thank God we have won, and the community has survived because of this. We have an inbuilt replication, and we have managed to obtain the enterprise users, because no enterprise would not want to use Postgres without the inbuilt replications. In 2014, we have started supporting JSON-B, and that is the data type that has attracted NoSQL users. And I'm also going to say that I'm very happy with this, because this was done by me and my colleagues, and this is our input into development of the society. In 2016, we had the parallel processing, and A-Lab users have started turning their attention to our platform, because now we could run large queries and large machines with many cores, and A-Lab users became just a tad more happy. In 2017, in the version 10, we have the logical replication being introduced. We have the sectioning being introduced, so the people who come from the world of work labs say processing, but we say in 2018 we have the G compilation being introduced. In 2019, the latest release, Postgres 12, we finally have the pluggable storage API being introduced. This is a very large project that allows us right now to write down additional storages that, for what we were frequently spoken against for, that you have only one storage heap and MySQL has different storages, but now we have this as an API. And I know that there are a variety of companies that are working for the Phantom storages, for the column or vertical storage. and they're working for the new RISE storage. And in the 12th version, we also committed JSON college. This is also a Russian development which we have given to the community. This is the implementation of the standard and JSON pass as well. In the next version, in the version 13, we are willing to commit the remainder. Now, what are we to expect from 2020? Here we have written that it is the adaptation of Postgres to the cloud environments. And as you very well know, everything is moving towards the cloud, be that private or public, and we do want to conquer the entire world. But with the evolution of Postgres, the community evolved as well. So if sometime back this was a university project back in the 1980s and the amount of users were fewer than 10, the developers themselves mainly, then now, then in 95, the project has grown to approximately, well, I wasn't part of the mailing list, but there were less than 300 of us back then. Right now, there are only two people. There is me and Bruce Monjan, the only two people from this community. We were among the first, and the community was developing this for ourselves. So this was a developer-driven period when we were coming up with what we wanted. So this was the time. Then in 2000s, we have seen the first companies appear who professionally worked with Postgres. This is the company Great Bridge, Enterprise DB, Second Quadrant. These are renowned companies to all of you, and the community started to move towards professional Postgres. In 2010, after we have received replication, Enterprise started finding its interest in Postgres. And Postgres has obtained a number of enterprise features, and in 2012 we have always completed the creation of this professional community. So we have started seeing the appearance of professional companies like Citrus, our company, Postgres Professional, and I call this period when the development of Postgres was now being driven not by the community but by the companies. So the companies, we can say that all the major developers are all a part of one of these companies. Right now we have almost no spare developer who would be very meaningful. We have Pavel Stehuli. He's one of the only ones who is still not being taken up to actually do the job. If you've seen his lecture yesterday, it was a full room. Everybody was very happy. But despite the fact that the development is taking in companies, the companies are still part of the community. And I am saying this using my own company as example. So despite us having our own developments within the company, we, as much as we can and as much as is necessary, we share those developments with the community, which is how Postgres becomes more mature and more professional, and its popularity, as we can see, grows. And you know, there is the site DB Engines. DB Engines is the measure for databases. Their information is collected on a number of criteria, and as a result of it, every year they say which database is the best. And you can see that since 2013, we can witness how the popularity of Postgres and other databases is growing. Here you can see 4 databases: Oracle, MySQL, SQL Server, and Postgres, the 4 more popular relative databases. And we see that only one database is growing, and that is Postgres. And you know, I don't even have to put the legend down, but we can see that it's growing, and we're happy to see that it's growing since 2014, approximately from the time when we have released the JSON-B support. So in essence, we were able to draw new people to our community, and these people continue coming. And this is one of the examples of sustainable development of Postgres, which is able to supply the demand of the people. If you look at the popular resource Hacker News, we can also see that everything looks very good here as well. And I'm not even going to say where Postgres is on this graph. I think you can see that the only growing database is Postgres. Everything else is in a somewhat of a stagnation period. Stack Overflow, I think everybody here knows what Stack Overflow is. It also notes in its latest review that Postgres is the second most used database, MySQL being number 1, and is the second most favorite one. And you see that Redis is in the first, but Postgres is in second. In Russia, Postgres is very popular, as we can all see. Russia is actively migrating to Postgres, and there are a number of reasons for this. And we have huge Russian federal systems that function on Postgres, and we were able to reach the capabilities of hundreds of thousands transactions per second. So such huge companies, Bank, Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Taxation, they understood the benefits of Postgres, and they're switching to it, and we're trying to help everybody. And I'm sure that we have people sitting here who are working in these companies and who know very well how Postgres is being used. Now, this concerns not only the largest federal companies, but the largest internet companies like Yandex, Mail.ru, Avito. These are large global companies, and they also work on Postgres. And some companies like Avito have fully grown on Postgres. Yandex has shifted from Oracle to Postgres, and it has not only shifted, but is now also offering cloud services, just like we are. We have a very active Telegram channels. For those of you who are not aware, do join now. Here you can see its address, and you have 3,042. We had 870 people online, and I was sitting at night, and we have 870 people sitting down and conducting conversation. And this is a very good channel, a very friendly channel, and of course we do have moderation, but it's more of moderating any cussing and bad words or personal attacks, but it's very rare. In Facebook, we have over 3,000 users. We have approximately 3,000 users. I think that this community has increased because I was just adding people lately, so please do use this. The largest conference about Postgres take place in Russia. It's the PGConf.Russia is the one, and Ivan is later going to share, and also PGDayRU, which is going to take place in St. Petersburg, which takes place over summer. We also now start seeing regional conferences, so the conference that take place not only in St. Petersburg and Moscow, but take place all around Russia. And between these conferences, we conduct countless meetups on any topic. Basically, the company organizes meetups. We sometimes have meetups of 300 people. And with this, we are presenting Postgres on large international conferences. So basically, on any big conferences, you can find speakers from our part. On all the large conferences, the Russian ones, we have an enormous amount of presentations, even separate tracks that follow this. Basically, we were paying development of Postgres close attention from the very beginning, and the development and educative development. So the community would not just be self-replicating with the assistance of professionals, but so that the students would actually be learning this. And the two university grades have graduated, and the teachers are here. Please keep in mind these people are very well-versed, and you can access their knowledge for free. We have education faculties that you can access from our website that we teach, that our partners teach, is the DBA courses, which are very popular. We have the developer courses, and the latest course, which have just appeared, which is currently gaining popularity, is the CPT, how you can optimize the queries. Now, the pinnacle of this educational process, and I would like to note that we have launched the professional certification of experts last year. This is primarily aimed to somehow regulate the labor market that has been formed, because the employers, they want to have an understanding of what level the specialist that they're hiring has. And now we have introduced a standard, and you have the opportunity to pass the tests according to these courses. We have the link above. You are able to pass examinations on this. And some people are passing the exams during this conference. Tomorrow, Pavel Lizanov is going to share with you the details and the conditions of certification. And if you want to protect yourself and protect your employees, then certification is the way to go. Now, regarding the data from Highload is the highest used Postgres. We are being compared to everybody. This is an independent evaluation. People are just looking at conferences. Now, regarding the job places in Russia, regarding to hh.ru or headhunter.ru, we always said that Postgres is growing. And if you see, if prior to this we were 10 times behind, then now, if we look at this year, we can be we can say that we need more Postgreses than Oraclists, if you will. This is an enormous positive step for all of us because any of you Postgres professionals can just go out onto any crossroads and you will be torn apart by employers, and we are definitely not going to be left without a job. And what awaits is us next. And I've been speaking about how good we are, that Postgres is developing, that we're amazing. And as I have said, that one of the cornerstones of development of Postgres is its sustainable development. And it is here that I would like to pass the word to Ivan, to the person. I was developing Postgres, and throughout this entire time, Ivan was implementing Postgres, and he knows this, not just in tail, but he knows the needs of the community of the largest companies, and now he is going to share what Postgres needs. Thank you, Oleg.
I will continue. Oleg basically told you everything interesting. Postgres is a database which can develop sustainably thanks to the community, and which is self-regulating, and both people and companies participate in this community. And their cooperation is in line with the demands of the world. We think that the future of Postgres is connected with cloud development, with cloud technologies, and it doesn't mean just that the databases will be used as services. No, it's much wider. The cloud tendency, it's not a secret, and everybody is talking about this. Analytics, and many people in their practice know very well, and they transfer Postgres into clouds. Participants of our conference told me about this. Why it's happening? The reason is that there are more and more users of Postgres, and it's impossible to administer it using the old methods. It's impossible to grow the new professionals in line with development of the system. And we're creating the clouds where administration is aggregated and automated. And this is why everything will change. And Postgres must become more and more autonomous, automatic, more sustainable. And if you see, only cloud services are growing, cloud products, as per the evaluation. All the products which are growing, they're all cloud-based. Alibaba, Google, Adobe services, everything is growing very fast. So, what is ahead of us? Where are we moving? Firstly, different cloud installations, similar to Amazon, Pioneer. But there will be more and more services like this, for example, Yandex Mail, and probably this will not end with this in Russia, because also state clouds are created, clouds within big enterprises, within ministries. All of them have their own clouds, and this is a very demanded technology, but also the most hot topic currently is zero administration question. How to make it in a way that Postgres would administer itself and become adaptive. And we're working on that. There are many groups around the world who are working on this problem. And in fact, does it mean that DBAs will no longer will be required? No, of course they will be needed, and Postgres is growing, and the share of DBAs will reduce, but it doesn't mean that their quantity will reduce. And of course, changes will have to be faced by everyone, not just by developers, but by administrators as well. And in addition to that, the cloud challenges are such things like adaptation for hardware, for networks, for file systems, for storages, blockchain support. Also, trust to the databases in cloud environment changes significantly. Also, scalability will be achieved with different methods. It should be more transparent for the user, and the possibility of Postgres to work on the multi-core machines is more and more important. Also, multi-tenancy, possibility for Postgres to sustain several instances on one machine or several isolated bases within one instance. This is more and more important because it enables to distribute the resources in a more optimal way within the cloud's environment. And these are the challenges which we're facing. And the future of the Postgres or Postgres Pro can be drawn approximately like this. Our future product we call Postgres Adaptive Cloud. This is going to be a new version, new stage of development of Postgres Pro, which will contain a lot of new developments, and it will meet the new challenges which I've just mentioned. Also, pluggable storage. This is a possibility which has just opened in Postgres to create several specialized. This is like a treasure chest, and many things can be done, and the applicability of Postgres can be even wider. Also, the graphic user interface we're working on. So, of course, the future is within clouds, and of course, many ways of development of Postgres will lead to the fact that in the future it will meet the future challenges. And this is the scheme which we created with Oleg, and we tried to connect the challenges and the changes which are ahead of us. And as you can see, there will be a lot of changes, and we need more and more developers. And this is one of the reasons why we are in the university, why we're here, why we work a lot with universities, because we want more and more students to join our community and to become developers, because someone needs to do all these tasks. And welcome to developers team. A very important subject which we should touch upon is security. Maybe your data is already stolen. So what shall we do about it? There are different approaches to this. For example, blockchain approach. A couple of years ago, we created an experimental system, Crederium, which enables to create trusted data within your database based on the blockchain technology. We're working on security of development to reduce the potential holes in the code, and this is very serious and very important subject. The importance is the same as sustainability, efficiency, etc. So let's work together on Postgres, and we will reach the happiness. Just a few words about the conference. There are about 700 people. At 10 o'clock there were 670 people, but considering the number of registered people, maybe there will be 750 participants on this conference. There are many speakers, 64. It's 8 squared for some reason. Everything will be published. Maybe some speakers do not want to publish their presentations, and in this case they should tell us about it. There is a simultaneous translation available. So if the speaker presentation is not in your native language, you can use the simultaneous translation. Hashtag is PGConf.Russia. You can also join the chat in our Telegram channel, because many important information is contained there. Also, you can vote for presentations on the website of our conference. There is a button for voting. Just press this button. You need to log in order to vote, because it's not anonymous. I hope that most of the participants registered themselves and they know their login and password. Otherwise, you will not be able to vote. You can vote in Russian and in English. If you press the button, you will also see the schedule of the conference with certain other buttons which you can press if you attended a certain presentation, and then you can vote if you liked the presentation or not, and also you can give your short feedback about the presentation. And the best presentations will be awarded with prizes at the end of the conference. There will be short presentations also, which will last for just 5 minutes, and you can tell about anything you want on stage. Yesterday, for example, 3 people told us about their desire to participate in Blitz Enlightening Talks. You can also submit your requests. This is very interesting. People run around the stage very fast and talk about different interesting things. If your presentation is not part of the conference or you have some idea, it's time to share it during the lightning talk. And also you can announce any event which you're going to organize, or just ask a question in the audience. In Durdin restaurant, there will be an event in 7:30 p.m. It's just about 20 minutes walk from here, or you can take a bus. Ivan Durdin restaurant on Minchurinsky Prospect. You are welcome to come, and also you can check out the stands of our partners on the 2nd floor. Some of them have their own events. For instance, Force Educational Establishment is going to make a lottery. Closure will be tomorrow evening. There will be award ceremony, photo ceremony, and also we will announce some future events, Postgres events in Russia and all over the world in the near future. So the introduction is over. I think everybody is ready. So conference can start. Let's work. I would like to add that after the closure of the conference, we will have a PG run, and everyone who wants to run around the night Moscow to discuss the conference or ask me a question, everybody is welcome. We have a very nice route, about 10-15 kilometers. Every Postgres person will be able to run for this distance without any problem. There is information where we meet, how we run. We have a lot of experience of such runs. Nobody died ever. So do not be nervous and please participate.